Welcome to Grace Pilled, where we explore the infinitude of God by talking about God, within God, aka interviews with people spanning the vastness of the spiritual path. My name is Hanna, and I will be your guide. I've been studying and practicing in a classical Shakta tantric tradition since 2015 under the guidance of my guru, and I just love exploring all of the ways that God wakes up within our own dream through the guise of individual people on this earth. For the past few years, I've been working professionally as a guide, offering one-on-one mentorship, giving talks, and teaching courses. If you ever want to connect with me more deeply, you can book a call through my website or join my Patreon, which is the home of my massive library of talks that I've given over the years. All of that information is in the description. But enough about me. Let's talk about our guest. All right, guys. This conversation goes absolutely insane. Absolutely crazy. I am not gonna lie. I mostly just sat there in silent awe as Erina told me her life story. And Erina's our guest. And Erina tells us a crazy story. Here are some of the themes. It's a story of perseverance. It's a story of the fight to live, the fight to truly understand the art of living despite crazy odds, the will to find meaning and purpose despite all kinds of circumstances that would bring most people to their knees. It's a wild ride. And just as a content warning, we've got some intense themes in this conversation: familial abuse, actually adoptee abuse, addiction, suicide. So just know that going in. If you're not in the mood, just recognize that in yourself and listen to it another time. But let's talk about Erina. Erina's life has been an unfolding through the kind of darkness that strips everything away. In the midst of everything she has ever experienced, a series of divine encounters shifted her path, revealing the divinity within her. Through a process of surrender, curiosity, and sincerity, she stopped resisting and started seeing, started understanding. Now she moves with life as a dance, finding rhythm in the ebb and flow and strength in the stillness between. And through all of it, she's become a powerful healer and practitioner, utilizing several modalities: quantum touch, sound therapy with tuning forks, aromatherapy, and yin yoga. But more than anything, by merely being herself, she offers us a way of being that is rooted, honest, deeply honest, and attuned to what's true. Erina's the sort of person that you talk to, and just by being in proximity to her, she prompts you to be asking yourself, am I really being honest with myself? And she's also lovely. Erina's the one person so far on this podcast. Oh, wait a minute. Amelia. Amelia, I know in person too. But Erina's the only person that I've kind of like caught in the wild, because we met at this place called Sakala in Denver, which is like a spiritual community center. And when we first met, I just vibed with her instantly. But the thing that really drew me to her was the fact that she was wearing a Dragon Ball Z shirt. And I was like, okay, this is my type of person. Like the Dragon Ball Z shirt at the spiritual center, I was like, I am with family here. And Erina's a projector, so. Well, enough about that. Let's just get into the conversation. Can't wait to hear what you guys think. Hi, Erina.
Hi.
Welcome. Welcome to this moment.
Yes.
Welcome to this moment. We met because at the Sakala place in Denver, and that's how we know each other.
Yes.
You're the only person I've interviewed so far that is somebody I met in the wild.
Oh, nice.
As opposed to being on the internet.
Yes, I remember we talked about that coffee and community.
Mm-hmm. So you're my wild catch. It's fun. It's really fun. Really fun. Well, I'm really excited to hear your whole story today. And just before we begin, I'm just wondering, like, do you have like a win recently, like something that you're proud of that you've experienced or something you've done that you feel like is a win?
I do actually, and it has to do with my daughter who's 11. And there's always like these stereotypes when our young girls are going through their changes that they have hard relationships with their mother. But my daughter had like an emotional breakdown at school, and she was vulnerable and open and talked to me in such a way that we were able to mindfully move through it. And that was a huge win. Like at the end of the conversation, I looked at her and I was like, "Thank you. Thank you for trusting me enough to share with me the things that are hard for you and that you're unsure about and that might make you feel crazy. Like, thank you for trusting that I will nurture you no matter where you're at." And I just felt such the win from that, like, because like that's the one thing I don't want with her is to have that stereotypical struggle, because I don't think it's necessary. So I was like, pat myself on the back, because when I be looking at stuff when it comes to kids and their behaviors and how they act and think and be and do, that's directly correlated to their relationship with their parents. So when things like that happen, I'm like, thank goodness. So it was so beautiful. Like I got emotional over it a little bit, and like she was like, "Thanks, mom," and we snuggled up the rest of the night. I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh, and now she knows that like it can feel that good.
Yes, and
Like really talk about it.
yes, because it was like something where I was like, "Why did you wait so long to tell me?" And she was like, had this fear that was like, and we talked through that. I'm like, "Where did this come from?" Like, and we were able to talk through to see that it wasn't even real. It was a story that she had made up to have that fear to talk to me about it. I was like, "So you were in this situation for like weeks. Well, you could have told me weeks ago, and I would have made sure that you were taken care of, baby, because you're number one." I'm like, I only want you to be in environments that are making you feel like you're thriving, and that was not one. It was she was in at school, and so we were able to talk through it. And so there was even a moment where I was about to freak out because, like, I'd be scared to hold space for her sometimes. There's G forces involved with that, and like, I kind of like gently uproot the issue. And I got to the point where she just burst into tears and she's like, "I don't know what's happening, mom. Everything's just, I don't know. I don't even know what words to say. I don't know what's going on." And I was like, "Say less, bet." I remember this. Like, and I looked at the calendar. She was PMSing. So I was like, "There's so many things happening right now, babe. Like, you need to understand that I see this and we're going to figure this out. And it's okay to have emotions that you don't know how to identify
Or explain.
Exactly. Sometimes there is no explaining. There is no naming to tame. Sometimes it's just hugging and cuddling and knowing that somebody got you while you're moving through all this weird stuff. So I was like, "Girl, your bones are growing." And these kids feel their bones growing. It'd be tripping me out when she's all sore and stuff for no reason. I'm like, "Dude, your bones are growing." Oh, that's crazy. And your hormonal system is going crazy. And you're having to go to school, and the school system is like very, very rigorous for no reason. And like, what the fuck? And like the teachers and the pressure and like socializing and all the fucking things happening. And I'm just like, girl, like there are definitely G forces involved with your state of being right now. And I respect that completely. I want to know how I can help and nurture you. That's why I ask you these questions, not because I'm gonna get mad at you. But because I want to understand so I can give you the right words or the right tools or the right actions, feeling back right. I was very proud of that moment because she means everything to me. She means more to me than anything. So I'm just like, I'm really glad I do right by her, especially considering where I came from.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. Like, does that feel healing for you to provide that to her?
Absolutely. There's been instances where I have had to guide her in ways that like I was we were having a discussion, and it was like the no means no discussion. And like I would, because she's getting to a place where, like, the boys and the girls be curious and shit, so we'd be having more discussions about that. And we got deep into the discussion, and like as I was saying the sentence, "I don't want you to be in a position where you want to say no but you say yes," like right when I was saying that, I burst into tears, and I started moving through all these things inside of me that I didn't quite even understand were still there. And Like that's something with my daughter. I'm 100% with her. Like if I'm having a mental health day and we're driving home and I need to pull over and just wail, that's what I'm doing because I'm not gonna hold my feelings in because you're next to me. What I do is I'm gonna let them out because that's a tool. Our emotions are a tool, and I'm gonna let my body through crying, screaming, yelling, whatever needs to come out. I'm gonna honor the emotion that's arisen, and then also in that, I'm gonna figure out a way to bring myself back. And I feel like it's important for her to see that. Like when I was in the car crying, she put her hand on my hand. We didn't say no words to each other, and I just let it all out, and we just continue on the way.
Yeah.
And I just think like I was like, this is important to know that your feelings, because she'd be embarrassed if she cries in front of people at school. I'm like, don't be embarrassed. Feel sad for them because they don't feel like they can. But you have to know when you reel it back in. Like you like let yourself have that emotion and also get to thinking about how you can bring it back and continue your day and not let that emotion consume you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like it just because it's coming up doesn't mean like the whole day is wrecked. Like it actually you wreck the whole day by avoiding it.
Exactly. And by holding on to it. Like it
Exactly.
yeah, like it's there's no sense in that. It's like one of the main things that I'd be saying for my business, Quantum Wave Therapeutics, is like you got to become the master of your domain. And the best way to do that, the most efficient way to do that is through your thoughts and feelings. Like, are you in control of your thoughts and feelings, or are you allowing your brain and your unconscious actions to be in control of how those things are processed? And I've been breaking down words a lot lately, and I was thinking about the word emotion. It means like in motion, like it's motion. And we try to hold on to and make still these things that are clearly in the name fleeting and trying to make moves. And whether that's through or out or into, like we'd be trying to hold on to them.
Oh
And
my God, you know what's coming up for me when I'm hearing you say all of this?
hmm,
I'm thinking about my emotional cycle. I think we're all different too with like the way that the emotions inevitably come out or like what it's like for us. And sometimes for me, when I know that I'm really keeping something in, I almost start kind of like pacing around.
mm,
Like, like I feel I don't recognize what's happening in the moment, but I'm almost kind of like pacing around like the house. Like I'm like, oh God, I feel like something's like wrong, like something like wrong. But what needs to happen is I just need to like cry. I
mhm.
almost like have this image. Okay, this is so disgusting, but like I just got a dog. And so it's like when a dog is like sniffing like crazy to find a place to poop,
Yeah.
I like sniff like crazy like a dog. And then finally I cry out. Hopefully you bring a bag, pick that shit up. Coming into my head, but when you were saying all of that, I was like, that's what it's like for me, for that emotion. It's like my body literally is like, we need to like let this out.
Yeah.
I feel so much better.
Yes, I feel like, and that's something I've been trying to teach my daughter. Is actually one of my practices is focusing on recognizing the triggers for these emotions. And so, like, if I'm like, we'll take yours for example. If I'm pacing around, that tells me, huh, something's about to come up, and I need to focus on what it might be to help that motion, that emotion, make its motion out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes our body's giving us triggers that we think are just, like, manic movements, when really it's, like, holding up a red flag, like, "Hey, this is what's going on," or, "Hey, this is the solution," or, "Hey, this," but we're too busy being in our heads and trying to hold on to all these things and identify ourselves with them that we can't hold them out and suspend them long enough to see, 1, that's not me. That's not a part of me. That's not who I am. I don't need to identify that. And 2, why is this really even happening? More oftentimes, especially if it's a negative emotion, when you backtrack and see what the root of that was, it wasn't even true, or it really wasn't even that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
You're over here playing games with your damn self. That other person don't care no more.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I almost feel like that nervous energy that paces me around the house is like feeling like there's a big deal or something, and then you let it out and you're like, oh, okay.
Right, right. That's what I thought. I was like, girl, if you told me this 2 weeks ago, then you wouldn't, today would not have even happened.
Oh, like your
Like,
daughter?
yeah, that's what I was telling her. Like, this all goes into that. I'm like, if you had told me what was going down today would not have happened how it did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I also think kids, I have a 9-year-old stepdaughter who I live with, and I've noticed with her, maybe you've seen this in your own daughter, like sometimes kids, we all come up with stories about reality, even as adults. But I almost feel like sometimes the stories that kids come up with for why they can't do something are like even more ridiculous because they just don't have life experience, you know? They have like a very limited amount of information. And one time my stepdaughter went months without telling me something because she thought that I was Christian. Okay. Because she knew that I go to Boulder every week to do like a spiritual thing, but she could only conceive of Christianity because she's
mhm.
9, right? She doesn't know about Tantra.
Right.
And so, like, she went months without telling me something because she was afraid that I was going to, like, judge her because she thought I was Christian. And I was like, girl, no. But it's like they could, but there's also, that's such an age of trying to make meaning and
Mhm.
trying to understand things, but using a very limited amount of information to make sense of things. And so I don't know if you've ever seen your dad
Yeah,
do that.
absolutely. And actually, the last time I really caught her getting deep in that cut of that storytelling to herself, I actually started reading to her the Four Agreements.
Mm,
And it
mm,
was a little bit of a dense read for her, so I had to
mm,
break it down like a story. Like I would
mm,
read it, and I would talk to her about the
mm,
total text and all that, but I
mhm.
would make it like a more digestible story for her age.
Yeah,
Have you read the Four
totally.
Agreements?
Yes, like it was one of my first like spiritual texts like
Yeah.
10 years ago. Yeah.
Yes, one of mine too. But I was like, the four agreements that are in there are very simple and very impactful.
Totally.
I'm gonna start telling
Totally.
my daughter right now, you ain't gotta take things personally.
Totally.
You do not make assumptions on things. You gotta always do
Mhm.
your best and you gotta always be true with your words. Like these things that these things that I don't care how old you are. These things
Mhm.
will hold you in a very special way and it will transform your external environment
Mhm.
to be in a different way as well. As I
Mhm.
tell her, I'm like sometimes when she's talking, I'm like, that's an assumption because she'll be assuming all kinds of things about me. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, girl, you don't know, like you're making a whole assumption and creating a story off of it.
Yes.
And then we backtrack in the story, and then I tell her what the truth is, and she's like, oh,
I'm out. And then it's yeah, you build up a whole case, and then the
mhm.
case is built on something that's not even true.
Yep. And that comes back to being the master of your domain. You got to chickity check yourself before you wreck yourself. Like that shit is the realest saying. Like check yourself. Check yourself. Sometimes you are telling yourself stories.
Yes.
And in that you can decipher what is real and what is not. And you can start actually taking care of what the issues are instead of what these fantastical stories are.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Wow. Wow. Yeah, also, by the way, I know that Jesus is your bag, which I'm about. And so when I say my stepdaughter was afraid of me being Christian, she was afraid of like her Catholic grandma Christian who is like
Oh,
super
girl.
temperamental.
I
That's
know
what
it's
she's
definitely
afraid
not
of.
good.
You know what I mean?
A Roman Catholic mother, and I'll be like, you got. I don't want to see my homeboy on that fucking that cross anymore. Can we?
Can we take him down?
You got a whole life outside of that moment. Like, can we
Oh,
choose the one when
for
he was
real.
lamb? Can we choose the one where he was with the children? Can we choose the one when he was on the Silk Road having adventures? I don't know. Why
Oh
am
my
I
god, real.
choosing
Oh my god. Okay, wait. So, Rena, how would you describe yourself spiritually?
one? I would describe myself as very authentic and curious. I try to keep a
Mhm.
childlike state because that keeps me um away from resistance more often than not. If I'm being curious about something and I'm coming at it like a kid, I've been able to learn a lot more and have more moments of joy. Like I was gardening with my homeboy and my homegirl yesterday, and I brought a soil test. And they were like, "What is this?" And it was like a bunch of little vials, and you could put the soil in, and then you put these little like capsules in, and you can measure like the
Yeah, the
phosphorus.
pH or whatever.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
They have digital ones because it's 2025, but I didn't want the digital ones. I wanted the ones with the water and the vials because that's just fun.
Yeah.
And we're all sitting out there all grown. I was like, "Isn't this so much fun, you guys?" And they're like, "Yeah." And we learned about soil and what phosphorus does, and what potash does, and what nitrogen does, and it was so fun. that I'd rather come at life, like my spiritual philosophy is coming at life like I'm a kid. Because if you think about it, I just got a big body, but I'm a kid. I don't know nothing. I only been here, what, 37 summers? Come on.
Mm.
That's not very long. I just the society that I live in says that when I'm this age, I have to be this way. I have to think this way. I got to have this job and this home and these possessions. And also, I ain't never done none of this before. I be reminding my daughter of that sometimes when I come across something with her that I'm like, let me think about it for a second. Or, can we, take some time and come back and have this discussion? And she'd be like, why? I'm like, because I don't know what I'm doing, boo. I did
Right.
not know. Like, I didn't even know that I would have to be in this situation. So let me think for a second.
Yeah.
And then, we come back to base and we gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
So I try to just and in authenticity, like the authentic part is important to me because like my authenticity is something that I had to fight for my whole life, like literally all the way up until just a couple years ago. I will not sacrifice that. I will not make it more quiet. I will not be in any other way than what makes me feel joy because I deserve that. I earn that. And I believe that if of everybody, like we should all be living from a place of peace and joy. I don't care how cheesy it sounds, but once you attain a space where you have been able to feel those things, like try to mirror in your day to day. At least what I do is I try to mirror in my day to day what makes my heart feel like that. If I'm making a decision and it doesn't make my heart feel like it's fluttering and excited, childlike and curious, then that's not authentic to me because I'm a spark of light that always just wants to know more.
Oh, I love everything that you just said. It's so inspiring. I feel like curiosity and authenticity, these two things that you described are things that like are so simple, but also sometimes so hard
Yes.
because it feels easier to not be curious. It feels easier to know what everything is, right?
Right. And I like a practice that I have put into play for that because like I was resistant to being curious and being full of wonderment because just that it implies that I don't know everything. And I was walking around in this way where I felt like that I have to know everything and I need to have all the correct answers and all these things. And so what I started doing in conversations with my friends first was talk less, listen more. And while I'm listening to them, to be listening to the words that they're telling me and to take note of any resistance that arises to maybe a fact that they were sharing with me or a success that they were sharing with me or whatever it was. Like if I'm feeling resistant, I could say words like, no, I don't know, or that's interesting, or I'm excited for you, instead of, oh, we'll see how that works out, or yeah, I remember reading on the Google, blah, 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 blah. Like, girl, you don't know. Shut the fuck up. I'm like talking to myself, like, stop. Like, you don't know. So just say,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know. Please tell me more. Now I help.
It's so much more pleasant to talk to people that have an openness to not needing to know.
Yeah. That's why that state of wonderment is everything. I'm always in a state of wonderment. And through that, I've learned so much from everything around me. Like, it's like wondering when the buds are going to come in on the trees.
Totally.
You know what I mean? But I walk outside and I see, oh, today's the day. I was wondering when I was going to see you.
Okay, wait. So you would describe yourself as curiosity, authenticity, but are there any spiritual traditions or practices that have helped you come to this?
I feel like um for like that more childlike wonderment, I feel like it's and it's more like a spiritual practice of being aware of the world that I'm living in and recognizing that there is an inherent consciousness in everything. I grew up on a wildlife preserve, so we were always out playing in the woods and shit like that. And from when I was really young, I realized like watching the bugs doing their thing and all these animals with all this purpose and like I was like I need to slow down and be humble like these creatures. And like even learning lessons from trees. Like and they start as these tiny little seeds, but then they grow into these big old things. I got hundreds of years worth of wisdom and experience. Just because I can't understand them doesn't mean they ain't got nothing to teach me. Um, and then even like Durga, I know we love Durga. Durga also came into play at a point in my life where I was beginning to navigate being a single mom, and I literally found an emblem of her on the ground. I didn't even know who she was. It was like a little like piece of jewelry that had her on it. And I looked on the ground. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I always look at the ground, and I like to look at the ground when I'm walking around because you can find treasure all over the
That's
place.
right.
Like, I promise you. And I found her, and I had to look up the instruments in her hand and look up what the animal she was riding on to figure out who she was. So I started like looking up who she was, and like I came into this glorious, magnificent tale of this woman who's like the mother of everybody.
Yes.
And through that, like I was able to gain a lot of moxie about to, traverse this path of
Mother.
being yeah, I didn't end by myself for a minute. And so I went and looked up like mantras for her. Um,
Mm.
I would write them, look them up in Sanskrit and write the letters because I know in Sanskrit there's the sounds that they use in their words are also purposeful. The sounds to make their words are internally vibratory on a vibratory level, healing for our bodies. So I would say her words, and after learning her story, I would try to kind of, in a way, walk as she did, like very uh, poised, very strong. Um, yeah, and that's how I have so many deities on my altar, but they all came and found me. It wasn't the other way around. Like I didn't really go and look for them. I was having something going on. Like even a man came to me in the form of Garuda, who's the eagle that
Yes, the bird. The bird.
yeah,
The eagle.
Lord.
Yeah. Birdman.
Like literally, I was like on my last dollar at the gas station. I was actually looking for a gas station to overdraft my account on. And this man walked up to me. He was a homeless man. I had $1 on me. I gave it to him. And I was like crying. He asked me what was wrong. And I told him, I was like, I just can't find a gas station that's gonna let me overdraft. He's like, well, take the dollar. I was like, bro, that ain't gonna get me nowhere. You take that dollar. And he was like, well, I wanted to tell you that my name is Garuda and you should look up who I am. And I was like, okay. And we just started talking. And he was this interesting individual who was very like well off in life and then has decided to choose a more humble path. And I didn't even know Eddie who Garuda was or anything. And when I went home and looked him up, he's like the chariot of courage, basically. And I was like, that's what I needed right now. So like these like I look at them like my brothers and my sisters. Like they're always watching me and they always want to support
They have
me.
your back.
Yeah. So like my main practice is remaining open to receive their assistance and not second guessing when these things come to me that maybe I should look it up. Like after I met him, I went and found a picture of Garuda. I did the same thing like I did with Durga and looked up prayers to him, started saying his words and looked up his story and like where he came from and what he did. And I was like, okay, like I can carry this lore, these legends, and I can apply them to this life and see how my external environment kind of changes around adapting or adopting these practices that I received from these divine beings. Because that's how I look at it. That homeless man was a divine being who went through the trouble to put himself into a human body to come and tell me that I need to have courage.
Yeah. Wow. 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 Something that's really sticking out to me with everything you've shared so far is almost like this intuitive capacity you have to recognize that, like, the world is constantly communicating to you wisdom. And so it's like, even like when you grew up on the wildlife preserve, like watching the trees and the animals and being like, I want to do as they do. It's like, and then you saw Durga and you were like, I want to walk as she did because I'm part of a religious tradition that's centered around her. And literally, she's not here for us to be like, oh, we love you, but I can never be you. She's waiting for us to walk as she does. Like she's waiting for us to be her.
That's exactly how I feel about all of them. Like, and that's what I was saying earlier with Jesus. Like, he literally says, people just don't be listening. He literally says, y'all can do this too. Like, I remember the part when his homeboys were supposed to go out and start healing people because he was going to go start doing his own thing again, as he does. And they were all like doubtful, like, well, how are we going to do this without you? And he's like, bro,
Hmm.
I just told you, you can do it too. I'm not giving you any power. This is your inherent power from our Father.
Yes.
I'm here to tell you that you can do it too and to show you that you can do it too. So he had me sold after that. I was like, so if he's telling them they could do it, he's telling me I could do it.
That's right.
And I believe that. I know this to be true. So it would behoove me that when these interdimensional beings and ascended masters make themselves prevalent to me,
Mm.
one, holy shit, you see me. That's
Thank
right.
you.
Come down anytime you want. And also, what it revealed to me what is unseen. Lift the veil from me because you are making all the effort to make yourself known to me. I can take this as a lesson like a child. I'm like, oh, I wonder what this means then. Start doing some research, see how that applies to me, see how maybe they live their life, and then do the same thing. And then see how it changes my experience.
Oh, so you also have a willingness to experiment and really put things into action.
Yes. I think that's
Not everybody has that. A lot of people just read the book and they're like, why isn't my life different?
I'm not playing games about this path. Like when I tell you I believe what they say, that I believe in the power to the fullest extent that all of these people have shared of our abilities. Cause like, look, girl, like the one thing I despise that people say is I'm only human. You are cutting yourself so short by saying those kinds of words. Like you are only human, like you are a whole human. And what is so tight that if you look at like Durga, Jesus, or Jesus Sama, all of these people, they don't have human bodies anymore because they're ascended into another octave of being, another realm, another a vibration where you don't need to have your body. The cool thing about a human is that we can be in these bodies and have these experiences, eat this food, have this love, birth these children, and we can go into meditation and go meet them on their planes.
Mm.
All of these things
Yes.
to a point where we are done with this playtime here in these human forms and decide to go into that higher octave and learn from them there, because I reckon they're all always learning too. Like, say Jesus is in the seventh dimension now. He's trying to figure out how to get into the eighth and have that experience. Like, come on.
There's always an evolution thing at work at every level.
I'm not going to sit here and cut myself short like I'm only human. Like, I'm going to eat this fucking food and while I can. I'm going to have these wild ass emotions while I can. I'm going to be loud and live while I can, because after this, I'm going to be like, and you're going to have me on your altar.
That's right. Oh my God. I remember you said that to me.
When I grow up, I want to be an ascended master. I want somebody to channel me through them into an audiobook.
That's right.
Yes. Like that is what I want to be when I grow up. And when I grow up, I will be ascended. I won't have this body. That's what I consider growing up.
Oh my God. Oh
Like
my God.
I'm not here to just like, these guys are my teachers and I'm going to listen to them and I'm going to believe them.
Hmm.
Stories. This isn't just like base lore from back in the day that has no basis. All of these things, like I even got Isis up on my altar. I've been working with her since I was very, very, very young. And like she came to me in a way that she wanted me to embody her, and I wasn't fully prepared to do that in a healthy way. And so, we moved away from each other. I learned other lessons and now we've come back to each other. But she's like my sister. Jesus is my brother. Archangel Michael, also my brother. Like we're not like this. We're like this. But you hold my hand. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come with you because you said and I believe you. And I believe you because the proof is in the pudding. You're an ascended master. Like you're not a fucking human on earth still.
Yeah, you're not like some Target, just walking around Target.
Right. Like I was like, dang, like when Garuda came to me in human form, I was like, damn, I hope that didn't hurt, bro.
Oh my God, real. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yes, like they have to come into this skin sack just to tell me that I need to fucking grow some hair on my chest and have some courage.
Oh
It
my
was just
God.
a serious message to me that he would do something like that.
Oh my God. Yeah, whenever I think about experiences like that where like like so for instance from my spiritual tradition, like we would call that almost kind of like the guru or like the ascended master, just like materializing on this plane to like give you a gift really randomly. And so I almost always think of it like in the Matrix, how like Agent Smith can like possess somebody's body and like
Yes.
do things, but that's like the evil version.
Yes. No, but I
It's like
totally
the same principle where it's like the guru can like possess a random person and just materialize out of nowhere and give us a message and then disappear.
yes, absolutely. And I'm just like, if somebody that is that far along on their journey had the wherewithal to turn around, sniff what I needed in that moment. Oh my God, Erina, she's at the gas station acting crazy. Somebody go down there and support her ass because she about to lose her shit and we need her to continue this journey. Garuda, you're up. He's like, got you. Came down. Flutter, flutter. Hey. you
Yes. So
Wait.
your team was like, okay, Erina really needs us now.
Yo, but the thing that's so beautiful is that these beings who are so vast and infinite in all of their gloriousness, they could smell anybody out. They're gonna know when any one of us, all 8 billion of us, it don't matter if you know who they are or not. That doesn't mean nothing because they there. So, like, if they smell somebody down the street who needs some help, they're going to try. And it's up to that person because we have free will to do something about it or not. And then, so I'm looking at this like I'm building relationships with these teachers. So the more that I see them, recognize them, hear them, and do something about it, the more likely it is that they're going to want to keep coming and giving me that guidance and showing me the path and lifting this veil for me that my human form might be having a difficult time doing.
Whoa. I'm having an experience right now where I'm remembering a story that I've had that was really similar.
Mm,
Do you want to hear it?
yes.
Okay, so in 2020, already starting off with like the worst year ever, just to set the stage. Um, I, okay, my mom has alcoholic dementia, and she at the time was living in an assisted living community. Um, and she was actively an alcoholic at the time, still drinking, but it was lockdown time. She's living in a place with a bunch of older people. And so there was like very high restrictions, like but they couldn't stop her from leaving the building legally. Okay, I'm just like setting the stage.
Yes.
And so my mom would leave almost every day to walk to the liquor store, but then the facility came to me and were like, you need to stop her. And I'd be like, bitch, I can't.
Right.
And then and so they eventually evicted her because of this behavior, but it was really a lot of pressure on me. And I remember I was really scrambling to try to find a solution because I didn't want to like drive down there every day and give her alcohol. You know, I was like, oh, like energetically, I'm like, I've never wanted to support her alcoholism and then I'm going to go give her alcohol.
Right.
Okay, I'm just like setting the stage. And so I'm very going through a very hard time in my life, and when I go through a really hard time in my life, I dive way deep into my spiritual practice. That's just how I operate. When shit gets hard, I'm going deep into my practice, and I remember I came up with this idea. It was like this divine intervention idea. I was like, okay, well, maybe I could go to the liquor store by her house and ask the guy who works there if he ever does deliveries so that
Mm,
I don't have to do it. And I remember I walked in and the guy at the counter was there. And I don't know how to describe this. It's like a feeling that I had. But as soon as I started talking to him, like he looked kind of grumpy when I walked in. I mean, it's like a liquor store.
right.
I
So
walked in and
you're like,
he looked kind of grumpy. And then as soon as he locked eyes with me, I almost felt like he transformed into someone else.
mm,
Like his whole energy shifted. And I was like, hey man, I've got this like really weird request. I live in Boulder. My mom's here in Arvada. Could you like drive her wine every week or something or every few days? And he looks at me and I just like feel this like radiation of compassion coming off of him. And he's like, I would normally never do something like that, but I will absolutely help you. What do you need me to do? It was like shocking. I like don't know how to explain it. Like it was like a situation where it's like you would never think this would work. And then this guy, and I paid him to do it. And this guy helped me for like 6 months.
wow.
and he was an angel because I was also working full time. Like I couldn't go down to Arvada and give my alcoholic mother wine every it just made no sense.
Yep.
And so like in my tradition, I actually have a picture of him here. There's like Sai Baba of Shirdi. Have you ever seen him?
Yeah. Just
He-
recently,
oh
actually.
really?
Yeah, like in the last few days.
Yeah. Yeah. So like in my world, I feel like Sai manifests for me sometimes to help me. And so I almost felt like Sai was like there and he
Yeah,
was helping
girl.
me.
And in those moments when I think that it's that person, because it's not always as direct as Garuda, I just assume, yes, it is. If
Oh,
I feel
totally.
then absolutely yes.
Totally.
It's not a it's not it's, this is not some fictitious world we live in. We live within a realm that holds so much history
Mhm,
and happenings like
mhm,
that we don't even
mhm,
understand. We only know like a couple thousand years worth of our history realistically. Like,
mhm,
please.
mhm, mhm,
It's
mhm.
like anything is possible if you ask me.
That's right. So anyway, whoa. Okay. Whoa. So okay, wow. Where would you say your spiritual life began? Like were you like very spiritual as a kid or did it start coming on a little bit like harder as an adult? Like how did it start?
It's been a fluid dance. Literally, I feel like I'm starting to learn ever since I was born. And it's always been based upon the perception of energy that I choose at the time, what my experience is. So, when I was born, I was actually born to a little girl who was 12 years old. So she was my biological mom. I'm adopted. So my biological mom was 11 years old when she was pregnant with me. And it was an immediate adoption, as soon as she had me, and I went into the foster care system for only 4 months, and there so when I was born to her, on my original birth certificate, I did not have no name. It just has her last name and her age and my father's age. I have no name. They literally took me out the womb and put me in the system, and, then I was named Lorianne, so I was Lorianne for 4 months, and then I was adopted, by my adoptive parents and then named Erina. And, everything was cool. I have, like, 6 siblings. We're all adopted. Like, my oldest brother's Polynesian, and my youngest brother is Vietnamese, and the rest of us are everything in between.
Yeah.
And, it got to a point when I, like, started hitting puberty and my changes started coming on, that my adoptive mother and I were just not popping with each other. And, I know now why that is, but then it was a lot of, why did why did you give me away? Like, what happened to you? You
Yeah.
hate me kind of shit. And, like, because the, relationship with my adopted mother became very, very abusive and also all my other siblings. And so she would take us she was Roman Catholic, so she would take us to church all the times. And I started really being like, if this woman is acting like this and treating me this way, is this even information that I should be taking in?
Real.
And because I've always been so curious, girl. Like, I've always been so curious. When we were like, me and my brothers and sisters, like, we were literally the last of the go play outside nation, like the rest of the people our age. Like, we would be outside until from the sun, when the sun went up to when the sun went down. And that's when I had all the time to really get in the cut with nature and see and feel the energy that had to offer. But then when I started finding turmoil in my home, I'm the second oldest of all 7 of us. And, so a lot of my other siblings were much, much younger, and they really couldn't do much about anything that was happening. I started finding ways to escape feeling the feelings and having the thoughts that I was having, um, interacting with my adopted mom. And so it started with, tarot, and then I had a scary experience. I was fucked around and
Wait,
found
how did you find tarot? Like, did it just fall in your lap or?
I found the tarot. It was one of my homegirls at school. She had brought a deck, and so I got curious about it because I was really drawn to the pictures and stuff
Totally.
the smell of it. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it just, what is that?
Yeah, you're
Kind
like enamored.
yo. And so I started looking into it, but then I started like looking up like spells and stuff like that. Like, this was like back in the day when my research was going to the library because they
Real.
don't know. computers in the homes like that. And so I would go to the library, which we would go to a lot in my household, and I would find books on like talking and connecting to spirits and doing all of these things. And one night I an energetic force came to visit me and didn't want to go away. I ended up naming him Willie. He was as tall as my room and had like this hat and a cloak on. And he would never really do anything but stand at the end of my bed and stare at me. And when I would get too
Okay, well, that's upsetting.
yo, I was like, go away. But this motherfucker took it all the way because he would like shroom, go down to the at the foot of my bed, and then he would skulk over to the side where I was laying my head, and he would like be looking like this, staring at me while I was about to try to sleep. Like it was fucking weird. So I was like, all
Wait,
right.
how old were you?
At that time, I want to say I was probably my daughter's age, like 11, 12
I
years old.
see. I see.
And then when I was able to fall asleep, I was having really bad night terrors. And these night terrors were always of me murdering myself while I'm watching me do it. It was really weird.
It's intense.
It was super
That
intense.
age too?
Yo, and I reckon it was all my unconscious and unable to explain thoughts and feelings from the things that were happening in the waking world. So I like the last one I remember when I decided to take action was I was at a swimming pool and I was stuck in the water up to my nose, and I was like right at the edge, but I couldn't grab onto the side. And I saw these feet walking up to me, and the person kneels down, and it was me, and she just dunks me into the water and watches her drown us. And I woke up and I was like, I'm not going to sleep ever again. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm watching myself die by my own hands every evening. So
That's reasonable.
yeah. So I was like, I'm just going to the rest of my life.
We're staying awake now.
Yo, this is like 12, 13 years old at this point.
Oh,
and then the internet started getting more popping. And I went over to my homegirl's house for a sleepover one night, and she had a computer at her house. And so we went online and we started looking up portals and things. And we started looking up ways to remember our dreams and to have control of them. So the tactics that I learned at that time and put into action was I would, them old tape recorders, we would record ourselves saying, I will remember my dreams over and over and over again. And then we would listen to it as we fell asleep. And the goal for that stage was going into your dream and realizing that you're in your dream. And it took me a few months, but I was able to start realizing that I was in my dreamscape. And then once I realized I was in my dreamscape, I could start the next step, which was writing the letter A on my dominant hand, which I'm left-handed. So I would write the letter A on my hand before I would go to bed, listen to my recording while I was going to bed, and then wake up consciously in my dream and try to look at my hands. My hands were blurry for a few more months. And then one day I looked at my hands and I could see them, and I could see the A that I drew on my hand in my waking time.
And that was like your key? Like you knew?
That's when and from there, I built a world for me to escape into from my waking world that was horrific and abusive. So I would be excited to go to bed every night because
that's a huge change.
yeah. So, and that was my solution to my terrible dreams. I was like, how can I have control of them? So I figured out how to have control of them. And as soon as I could see my hands, I could fly, I could breathe underwater, I could jump like from a mountaintop to a mountaintop. Like I could do anything. Like I was involved in like I don't know, like extraterrestrial warfare in some of them. I met like ancient
for your service.
Of them. Yo, you're welcome. I do what I can for us, like been going to other planets and things. Like in my mind, I'm like, I'm in this beautiful dream place where I can think whatever I want. Like this is tight. And it got to the point where I didn't feel like I was sleeping anymore ever. I felt like I was going to sleep here and then waking up in my world. And then when I was starting, my body was starting to wake up here, I would get pulled from my world and wake up here. But I felt so good all the time. And when
Can I pause you for a sec?
yeah.
I've like done some study with like the Western occult, which I'm sure maybe you have too. And I've like heard of how like certain stages of awareness and awakening are like the dream state and the waking state aren't so contrasted anymore. Like there's continuity.
Mm.
And then when there's continuity in the sleep state and the waking state, that's just like a certain level of spiritual awareness. That just came into my head hearing you say that.
Oh, I like that. I haven't heard of that, and I'm gonna look into that more because it was it was such a beautiful, seamless time in my life. Willie, that little whatever that.
Yeah, what happened to Willie?
Oh, he gonna come up later. We gonna don't you worry, don't you worry. We gonna resolve that a little bit later. Now we got a few more years till we get to there.
Okay, Willie's pause, and we will return to Willie. Oh my goodness.
So I'm at this beautiful space, but then by this time I'm like getting to be like 13, 14 years old, and like shit is going left with my adoptive mom. Like this bitch is beating my ass. Like it's getting to the point of where I'm like going to I would go to the police. I would go to the teachers. I would go to the counselors. I would go to my friends' parents and try to tell them this woman is hurting me. She's hurting my brothers and sisters. She's not even my fucking mom. And like nobody did anything. Like even when I ran to the police station. I ran to the police station like this woman is hurting me. And they would bring like I'd be like, please take me anywhere else. Put me in foster care. Please do not bring me back to this house. And I have my brothers and sisters there. Like you need to help them too. And then I'd be in the car feeling like I was safe. And they would drive me back to this fucking woman's house. And they would walk me up to the door. I'd be like, why are you bringing me back here? This woman would open the door, acting like she was crying. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with her. She's on medication. She has a lot of mental health issues. No, I've never been on medication. I did not have mental health issues other than the ones that she instilled in me. Now, the catch is, right, the catch was that all my other brothers and sisters were fetal drug and alcohol exposed. So they had this wide range of disabilities. I adopted my biological mother was simply very, very young, and whatever transpired is what transpired there. But she would just throw me in the bucket because it made it easier, and she worked for social services. She was like a leader in the community for the parents of adopted children. So they ain't gonna believe
Wait,
me.
sorry, I'm just like processing this shit show
I'm
information
saying,
you're saying. You're like,
I'm
this is like
saying.
evil overlord energy.
Yes, incredible. Like that woman was my arch nemesis, and I was not like. It got to the point of where like she would hit me, and I would hit her back, and then I would come home. My door and my lights were gone. And like it got there was other instances where like she hit me and I hit her back, and then my dad comes, grab me by my neck, take me outside, slam me up against the fucking garage, and yells at me for hitting her. But I'm like, I had a red hand mark on my face, and I had this necklace because I've always been into geometry and shapes of a delta that was like a necklace that's supposed to stay on you forever. She ripped it off my neck. I had this huge burn on my neck. It was right before we were going to church. So I had to go to church with this hand on my fucking face and like all of this like burn on my neck. Like, like I'm like, I can't believe this. Then like weird, crazy, like this woman was really trying to hold on to me in the worst of ways because like I would be at like youth group hiding in the bathroom because I don't want to go to youth group with all these weird ass kids doing this weird ass shit. And I come out the bathroom and I'm like crying because that's usually what I was doing. And this woman's like, oh my God, Erina. And I look at this woman, I don't know who she is. And she was like, your mother told us about you. She said that you're recovering from heroin. We're so glad that you're coming back. I didn't even know what heroin was. I don't know what that is. And I thought that story was something I made up for a long time until my sister Jessica was like, I was there when that happened. I was like, shit. Okay, that was real. So like this woman was creating a story around me to keep everybody from listening to the truth I was trying to tell.
Yeah,
Which
I'm
was,
literally, you know what the phrase just came into my head is?
huh?
You're a warrior of truth. Like true
Yo,
warrior.
I like that. I
That's the
like that.
word that just came into my head. Keep going. But that's what
Like,
I'm
ah,
feeling.
I can like I was like, this is for like inside of me for my whole life. I've always had something that was whispering to me, like, this is not how it's supposed to
That's
be.
right.
This is not how it's supposed to be. Even when I would go into the church and I would look at Jesus up there on the cross, I would hear him say to me, like he's one, like I've had a relationship with him since the beginning. He saw my suffering, girl. And he would look at me and when I would walk into the church, I'm getting chills right now, and he would say, this is not who I am. Come and find me. And I was like, okay. And then I would go hide because I didn't know what that meant. And
Wow.
so it got to the point where I was like running away from the house. Like, girl, I was like, at this point,
Of course you were. What the fuck? Of course
right.
you were.
Girl, I would pack up chips. I would go live outside as like an adult by
God.
myself just to get away from this bitch's house until I either ran out of food or the police caught me. So I would, and whenever we would go to the library, I would always get the maps for the buses. So I would have a map so that I could figure out how to get myself around. I would go even up to places like Westminster and shit like this, like on the bus, looking for refuge. Like some of my friends, my homegirl Janae, who's still my friend, um, like her mom would try to help me, her parents would try to help me, but it like you can only do so much, which now I know as an adult child, there's only so much you can do until you're like harboring a minor. And
Right, because you
so
were still underage when all of this is happening.
yes, girl, yes. And it just got fucked up. And at that point, when I was going through this like really dense terror with my adoptive mom, I lost my dream world because I was so hyper focused on surviving this
Right.
fucking bitch that I couldn't think of anything else, nothing else. And so then I found my way, like I started like having boyfriends and shit. And then that was a problem because Teresa, my adoptive mom, did not like for me to be attractive to others because I found out later in life, like that was something on her. Like she was jealous of people liking me. And so I ended up,
So fragile. Come
yo,
on.
it's fucking incredible the shit that was going down. So I ended up, she kicked me out when I was 17, like a couple weeks before I turned 18. She kicked me out the house. I literally came home and all my shit was on the front yard. And there was a note on the door saying, ain't nobody give a fuck about you. Don't call, don't write, don't try to reach out, don't send flowers unless you come back to the house with a priest and a therapist. And I still have that.
And yeah, who's paying for that? You better fucking pay for my therapy.
And girl, she got my ID taken away from me. She kept my social security card and my birth certificate.
So what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Girl, you want to know what I did?
Oh my God.
I got a fake green card to get a job because I'm resourceful.
This is another thing that I'm picking up from this is your incredible discipline and perseverance and like ability to like be resourceful.
Yeah, I'm
Wavering.
the whole underlying factor to that is this is not how this should be. And the only way that it can change is if you do something different. So I ended up with the dude I was dating at the time who also became abusive because that's what was normal to me. So moving through him, I ended up getting with this other dude who was an illegal immigrant. And I was working in the adult industry. I was an exotic dancer for a long time, or for like a few years, and that's where I got my job. That's what I used my green card to get that job because I couldn't use my fake Mexican green card to get a job anywhere else.
Crazy.
Like the fuck, I'm a whole American citizen, but I can't get any of my fucking shit because this bitch don't want to let me go, but also don't.
Right, she's kicking you out, but she's not letting you go.
Exactly.
That's fucked.
So I fucking end up with this dude, and that's when I got introduced to drugs, is being with this dude. And I was addicted to crack. I was addicted to ecstasy. I was addicted to alcohol. I was addicted to cocaine, and I was working in this adult entertainment field with this dude. And he ended up getting not evicted, but deported back to Mexico because he was walking home from work or from a job interview and got pulled over by the police and they snatched him up. Well, I didn't know any better, so I saved up my money. Actually, that was what kept that's when I stopped smoking crack. I got myself off of crack by myself one day because my pride wouldn't let me go buy it myself because he was one who was supplying it to me. So I stopped that immediately because I wasn't about to go and get that shit for myself because I don't do that. I just smoke it. Okay. So
Wow.
I'm thankful that he got deported for that reason, but that's how I ended up in Juarez, Mexico. So now I'm in Juarez, Mexico with no ID, no social security card, and my final check from my job. Because back in the day, dancers were still getting an hourly wage. And this is where the divinity starts coming back in. It's so tight. And when I think about this, I'm like, I am so divinely protected. So I'm on the bridge because the first thing I got to do is I got to find a fucking job. and we're right up El Paso's ass. So it's like a 3-hour bus ride, which ain't nothing for me. So I'm gonna take the bus from Mexico and walk over the bridge into America and find a job and figure out how to cash this check. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but these are the moves these are the goals that I need.
You know what you need to do. You don't know how it's
I don't know how it's gonna go, but if I, in my learning from all of these things that I've experienced so far, if I keep moving, something will happen. Girl, I am on the bridge on the Mexico side, thinking about how I'm about to get into America, waiting my turn in line, and my stage name was Isis. That was when I was working with her, when I wasn't ready to embody her, that she was trying to show me how I could embody being a woman. But I was too under the influence to realize. So my stage name here was Isis. So I'm on the bridge in Mexico now. This man steps out of the line and says, Isis. I was like, I look and this dude's waving at me. He used to come see me at the club in Denver. And he happens to be on the bridge with me at the same time in Mexico on the same day. Okay. I'll never forget him. His name is Anthony. He helped me out so much. And he was never fucking weird to me. But I end up getting
God.
I know, dude, because some dudes, but
No, totally. The context of how you knew him, like the high probability of weird.
yeah, but it's like so many things that have led me to just be like, hey, like people have helped me more than they have hurt me outside of my family in my life. So I have to rely on that and believe that as well, because it's been demonstrated to me. So I get to the border, I get up, it's my fucking turn. I've been waiting for hours. The dude's like, ask me for my ID. I got Anthony here, like, let's go try to get you a job. And I'm like, I don't have an ID. The border patrol guy was like,
what?
Right. And I was like, well, like, look at me, listen to me. Like, I'm not from here. Like, I'm from Littleton, Colorado. What the fuck? I was like, this is my social security number. I straight up gave him Teresa, my adopted mom's phone number. I was like, you could call her, because if that bitch was anything, she would try to reel me back in. You know what I mean? So that we could continue our cycle. So he literally called her, checked my social security number, and let me into the border. Now I'm in El Paso. So Anthony takes me to the bank. This woman, stroke of luck, just cashes my check for me without an ID. And I got $150 to last me until I could figure out how to get more money. Anthony takes me to a club right out there. I get a job. And I don't need an ID, because the type of industry, sometimes they do shit under the table. So they gave me a job there. I started working there, and I started going back and forth over the border every day. And like, it got to the point where like I would get up to
Wait,
the
did
border.
you like get something so it was easy to do that? Like you got like
No, I would just cry, and they got sick of it after like a month, and they were like, all right, Erina, fucking come through. You ain't got to do that. You don't have to do that anymore. Come on through. So now I'm like going back and forth for work in Mexico to America. Then I started thinking, like, how can I maximize my money? Because my goal with my dude at the time was to get him back into America. So I started thinking, and they have these places called houses of change in Mexico, where you go and change your dollars for pesos. And so what I started doing is, when I would get all of my cash in America, I would walk over the border and I would sit out in the front of the houses of change, and I would wait for them to run out of American dollars. Then I would go sell them my American dollars for 1.5.
Oh, so you make a profit on that.
Yes. So that was how I was able to maximize my money. And so I started trying to save up money and do all this shit. And there was one day when I was in El Paso working, and I came out of my job, and this dude rolled up in a truck, opened up the passenger's door, and held a gun out at me and said, get in the car. And I was like, okay. Because at this point, like, I was always ready to die. I was always ready for perish to come. And also I wanted to live. So I was like, I'll get in the car with this fool. So this motherfucker get in the car. I get covered over my head. There's other people in the back I wasn't aware of. I get put into the back. I'm basically getting kidnapped right now, or abducted. And back in the day, we had those cell phones where we could be like on the number 2, 1, 2, 3, and we know that's C. Like,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
and like I didn't have to look to text. I knew exactly which numbers and which letters to text. So I started texting my homegirl Janae, who lives here, and I started texting her the names of the streets that I could see from the covering because they had me by the window, and I could see the signs as we passed by. And they took me to this hotel. It was two men and a woman, and we get to this fucking hotel. And they were like, "Take off your clothes." And I was like, "You can kill me. You can kill me and do whatever you want to my dead body. Like, I really don't give a fuck. You guys don't understand my life that's happening right now." And I locked myself in the bathroom for a little bit, and I was talking to my homegirl like, "I love you. Like, this is I don't know what's about to go down." She's like, "Let me talk to them." So she talks. I give him the phone. I give one of the dudes the phone. I was like, "My homegirl wants to talk to you." Whatever she said, one of them popped up and he was like, "I'm gonna take her back to the border." And so this man of this trio, one of the men, took me back to the fucking border and let me out so I could retreat back to Mexico to continue my little chain of my house of change and doing all this fucking shit. And then it got to a point where the dude I was with became one of the masses and he started spending my money on like drugs out there. I fucking told him one day he left for like 3 days. He came back and I had all my shit packed. I was like, "I'm fucking out, bro. I got a whole identity in America. Like, I do not have here. Like, motherfuckers out here watering their dirt before the wind comes in. I had a pet duck. Stop it. I did not need to be here, especially if you're gonna act like this." So I fucking get back over to America. Anthony helps me get into like this hotel, and I start living right next to the place that I'm working at. And I go along and I just start feeling like I want to come back. Oh, pause. Let's go back to Willie.
I've been
Well,
waiting for Willie.
yeah. While I was right before I went to Mexico, I ended up going out to South Dakota to do some work with some of the girls at the club. We ended up um on a reservation in Winter, South Dakota. And I was hanging out with the medicine man's daughter. We were smoking some weed and ordering ice cream from Dairy Queen because back then they didn't have Uber Eats or nothing, but that town was so small that they would deliver shit. So it was like, yes, girl, it was so tight. We were stoned as fuck. And she's like, "You want some ice cream?" And I was like, "You got some?" And she called and talked to like her homegirl Dairy Queen. And like 15 minutes later, I had forgotten, ring, ring, ding dong, had our ice cream. I was like, "What is this place?" Like, it was so tight. And we were just sitting there token up, and she looked at me. She's like, "So, did you want me to get rid of that thing that's following you?" And I was like, "You see him?" She's like, "Yeah." And you shouldn't have given him a name.
Oh no.
And I was like, "Oh," she's like, "He's been waiting. He's been following you around, and he's been waiting for his moment to take over your existence." She's like, "But I can get rid of him if you want." "Only if you want." And I was like, "Yes, this motherfucker terrorizes me in the night. Like, he scares me. He don't even do nothing, but him not doing nothing and just being there is
No,
scary."
that's enough. That's
Yeah. So she fucking it was like, well, that was the first time I was introduced to like sage and things of that matter.
oh,
She gave me like Olympia with sage, and I never seen him again. And that's why I feel like I ended out in South Dakota. It
that's
was
why you ended up there. Yes, that
mhm,
makes sense.
release me from him. So fast forwarding back into Mexico, I get to a point with this dude where I'm like, I'm fucking out. Like, all of this shit is like balderdash. Like, I can't. Like, I'm out here doing the most. I am surviving for the both of us.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, taking cold showers, can't drink the fucking water.
Mhm.
Got a spray raid every night because they got fucking tarantulas and they got centipedes that are like this long and they're parasitic and they'll fuck you up. Like, I do not need to be here no more. I make my way back up to El Paso and I start doing like work and things there. I ended up coming back. I ended up calling my adoptive mom because I didn't know what else to do at that point.
Oh,
She fucking came and got me in Arizona.
are you serious?
I came back to Colorado. Yep. I just didn't know what else to do. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know where to go. Like, I don't want to keep perpetuating the cycle because I met a dude in El Paso and he was in the military. So I was chilling on Fort Bliss for a minute. But he like wanted to get married and I only knew him for a couple months. And I'm a sucker for real love. I'm not gonna marry you. I'm not gonna do that. I don't even know you. I was using my excuse I didn't have a birth certificate. No, I don't have no identification. I can't do that. And then he ended up moving on to Georgia and marrying some chick he met that same night. But I was just like, I gotta get I gotta get back at least to like my state.
Mm.
Back here. And I start living with Teresa again. And it's instead of because she knows that at that point she can't keep hitting me and beating me, but she can keep mind fucking me. So it became very
Mm.
emotional and mental abuse at that point. And then I met my daughter's dad, who took me away from that, but was the male embodiment of her, minus the physical abuse.
I see.
He was very, very narcissistic when we were younger. And so I just went through these motions. In my mind, I was like, something's gotta come, something's gotta happen. Like, this is not how it's supposed to be,
Yes.
but the most safe and
Mm.
not hurting that it's ever been. So I'll allow it.
Oh.
And so we ended up having our
There
daughter.
was like a minor improvement, but because the bar was in hell, you were like, this is slightly higher than the bar being in hell.
Yo, yes.
Okay.
So I was like, let's just stay here for a minute. I ended up with this guy for 7 years and we had our daughter. And like that all blew up. Um, but when I like the year before I had my daughter, because I didn't think I could get pregnant at this point in my life. But the year before I had my daughter, it was the first time that I had like extra space for myself. He and I had moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. We didn't have no roommates, it was just us. So it took the opportunity to start diving back into the things that made me feel whole when I was younger. Tarot, um, meditation, working with my dreams. And then through kind of going back and looking at those things, I found yoga. And so I set up that second room as like a little yoga sanctuary. And literally every morning I would spend 2.5, 3 hours leisurely getting ready. I would go into my little space. I would do yoga. I would do breath work. At this point, I'm like, what was it, 24?
Mhm.
Like 24, 25 years old. And I had my daughter when I was 26. And it felt good. It felt really good. And also I was still an alcoholic. So like that was like the last substance that was
Oh, that was like what was left.
yep, out of all that other slew of things. Cause I just got to the point where I was like, I'm a person who's like, when I'm done, I'm fucking done. Like I'll give you lots of chances, crack cocaine. But if I gotta go buy you myself, cut. And I'm okay with going through those pains until you're not nipping at my heels anymore. But like with alcohol, I couldn't let that shit go. And I wasn't happy with my daughter's dad and who I was in that relationship and who he was in that relationship. And I started really feeling like I can push to do something better through diving into yoga, diving into breath work. It brought me to a really beautiful space. It also made my body healthier. So I got pregnant.
Oh.
Right. And I literally got pregnant. Um, I was planning on moving with my homegirl. She's was getting her dive master's degree out in Australia. And I was gonna go move out there with her in that next August. And then I found out I was pregnant and I was due that next August. So I was like,
Mm.
let's stay here. Let's see what happens. Like maybe this will make things different. That shit doesn't. But I thought, maybe no.
You can bring your newborn to Australia.
Something shit. Like so fucking I go down that path. I'm like my pregnancy was really hard, but I got to have a connection with Queen Zenobia, who was a Syrian queen back in the day. And that's who my daughter is. Gave me her name through a dream when I was 3 months pregnant with her. I didn't even know her gender. And I was gonna name her like Lavender Sunshine or some cheesy ass shit, because that's me. And she's like, no, my name is Zenobia. And I looked up who Zenobia was because this is something that I've always done. When things come to me, I want to look into them. And that seed was planted by Jesus when he said, come find me. So I was like, I gotta come find these motherfuckers if I want them to see me. And when they see me, it's my duty to look into them. So I started looking into Zenobia, and she's like this warrior queen. I was like, what? That's in my womb right now. It made me feel a sense of pride and a sense of valor that I needed to uphold to prepare this space for someone of that magnitude. Is how I felt. And I ended up having her, and I realized how powerful I was in having her, to the point of where I started looking at her father like, you can't treat me like this no more. You can't talk to me like this no more. You can't interact with me like that anymore. Because who do you think you are? I birth humans onto this children through my interdimensional portal. What do you do? So that ended up dissolving when my daughter was like 2 years old. And like it was really hard with him back and forth at first because there was a lot of personal emotions involved in our separation and being able to parent. I will say now, like that motherfucker and I, we have the best co-parenting relationship this side of the
That's
Mississippi.
shocking. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Girl, like when like and it all comes down to this like second sector of work that I ended up doing with interacting with myself, holding myself accountable to myself and for myself. Like there would be times where I would record conversations with him where we were in an argument, not to get him into any kind of trouble, but to listen to how I sounded. And when I would go back and listen to my voice and listen to the words that I was saying, I was like, girl, you sound like a scared little bitch who should be fucking, you were like a pushover. Of course you're being treated like this. You're like asking for it in every way that you can relay that. Come fuck with me. I'm a weak ass bitch. Just being real with myself. But I can't do that unless I can find a way to look outside of me. And the only way I know to look outside of me is to record myself like verbally, like the audio, and like go and listen to myself. I didn't ever keep journals because Teresa would go through them and use them against me. So I cannot, I'm
Yeah.
to this day, I have a hard time writing things down.
That's real.
And like, that's something that has just stuck with me. But over the first, I want to say like 3-4 years of my separation from my daughter's dad, like I was fucked up. I started going back to drinking. I started going back to putting myself in places that I had no business being in, playing around with the boys in all the toxic ways, like not thinking about how that might affect my daughter who's about to come into a place where she's going to remember everything I'm doing. And that's when I found Durga. And I found her literally walking. I was walking, looking at the ground because I look for treasure all over the land because there's always stuff there for me, even if it's a penny. That the universe put that there.
Totally.
My guides and stuff put that there for me, and that's a symbol of abundance. You cannot pass that up. It's in my pocket. And I saw this little jewel on the ground, and I was like, I never even seen a Hindu deity in my life before. And I got so curious. She had all these arms. She had all these tools. She was on a tiger. Like, who is this lady? And so I went home and I started looking up who she was, like in this space of just uncertainty and fear, doubt, disbelief. Like, should I just relinquish my daughter to her father and be done with it? Like, he was there, but not there, and threatening to take me to court or to take her, but then saying he was going to leave. Like, it was just so much. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Like you're at a crossroads?
Yeah. Like, I just don't, like, I would call all of my crossroads I wonder what's going to happen now kind of situation. Not even like, I wonder what's going to happen now, but man, this shit got to here. I wonder what's about to go down next. I'm so curious because I don't have any control of anything, including myself right now. And I find this lady and I look her up and I read her story. She was literally the Hail Mary for all of the men involved in the pantheon at the time.
No, that's real. That's
right. Like this bitch, they were at war with that motherfucker and they were losing so bad. And they're like, we got to do something, y'all. Let's gather together. Let's put all of our fucking powers together and let's create something that could bring people down. And it was the female archetype. Durga, who is the mother of all of the embodiments of females in the Hindu pantheon. Something that is very important to me too. I mean, people be talking about like Kali and things. I'm like, yeah, but that's Durga. That's like her shadow side of the mountain. And you also you read the end of her story where she had to kill her husband to get herself to stop. Don't let shit go on too long or go too far. That's what she's trying to tell you. Yeah, she badass, but she took it too far.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's the part of us that's like PMSing and we say the fucked up shit
Mhm.
and we take it too far. And we can always reel it back in and become the divine mother again because she is me and I am her. And so when I looked her up, I was like, okay, like I feel like this person is telling me that I need to get my shit together
Mm.
and that I need to start doing things differently and moving differently and changing maybe even the people I'm around. So I started being more mindful of myself. And I started doing exercises like having my feelings versus being my feelings. So like in like romantic languages like Italian, Spanish, French, when they're talking about their feelings, they say I'm having anger, I'm having sadness, not I am angry or I am sad. They're not embodying it. They're just having it as a experience that's happening right now and that they can put down. So I started there with trying to guide myself into having control of myself because that's what Durga would do. Literally, that's what it was. What would Durga do? She would reel it the fuck in. How would she do that? Well, my thoughts and feelings are the one things that are the most out of control. How can I fix that? So then I started doing research and found this practice of having versus being my emotions. So then I would bring it all the way back and start like really talking to myself. I'm having a craving to drink this alcohol.
Mm.
Um, and also I know that it does not define who I am, that it does not, this craving does not embody me and is not in control of me. So, Erina, what will happen if you go and buy this alcohol? And then I play out the night and I play out the next morning because I always took it too far.
Mm.
And I would be like, okay, Erina, so we know how that's going to go. But if you decide not to, despite this craving that you're having that is not you,
Mhm.
well, like, I'll get up early, take my daughter to the mountains because we used to do that all the time back in the day. And we would hang out and I would remember everything and like enjoy time with her and not feel fucked up and not like smell my own breath from afar. Like when it blows in the wrong direction, like you won't have to deal with that. Okay. And sometimes I would make one choice and sometimes I would make the other. And then that's when I came into the practice of non-attachment, which I learned through yoga. And then that helped me to not um, beat down on myself when I made that other choice. Be like, okay, I chose that. I take accountability for the way that I'm feeling right now. And also, I can prepare myself to do better next time.
Mhm.
I'm not going to talk shit to myself. I'm not going to berate myself. I'm not going to make myself feel unworthy of anything because of a choice that I decided to make.
Mhm.
So, having this awareness of this non attachment to these feelings that are moving, that are in motion. So, emotion, the whole word is motion. The only thing that's different in the word motion is the E at the beginning. Oh, like that's something I had to really train myself to think. Like my emotions are in motion and there is no intention for them to be held on to.
Yes. Or to be
Nobody.
solidified as what you are.
Yeah. Otherwise it's
Right.
called what? E stationary or
Stop it.
stop or E hold on to me.
Stop it.
But it's not called any of those things. It's called emotion. So
Mhm.
it made me feel like that's something that should be in motion while I'm experiencing it,
Yeah.
that I don't have to hold on to it. So having these like practices in place like really guided me into becoming what I call the master of my domain and honoring all of my thoughts and feelings and having the discernment and the discipline to know which ones were real, which ones were not, which ones were going to point me in the direction of the path that I want to be in or the direction and the path that I came from.
Mm.
And going back to my mantra from back in the day, I want to live. Like
Mm.
I fucking die. I never said I don't want to die. If death was ever said, I would say I'm ready.
Mm.
Because like Juarez land, like Juarez time, so many things happen in that country where I should be dead. And every single time, me either saying I want to live or I'm ready to die, accepting whatever is about to go down, then the fates were like, let that bitch go.
Whoa.
Let her go in some way, shape, or form.
Whoa.
So it's like this also makes me think about um how much our words matter. Like when I'm saying I don't want to die, if that was something that was like my mantra, that's something I would be pulling to myself because there's fear linked with that declaration. And that makes it so much stronger. Me saying I want to live, when I say those words, like even when I remember some of the darkest moments in my journey, when I would say in my mind, like, I want to live, like it was like a lotus opening into this divine light that revealed to me a path that enabled me to um, act out that declaration.
Whoa.
I want to live. Like when Teresa was beating my ass, I want to live. When I'm like stuck in South Dakota, getting exercised by this woman, I want to live. When I'm in Mexico with nothing and no one that can help me to turn anything around, I want to live. And people kidnapping me off the side of the street, like I want to live. Like I want that because I feel like I haven't gotten to do it at all yet.
Mm.
And I want to know what the fuck it feels like because so many people are out here looking like they're having the best time, and I'm scared for all of it.
Mm.
I don't want that. That's not for me. But how do I change that? So I just started finding all these different tools and all these different deities that would come to me and that would be like, "Hey, seek me out. Look up who I am." And then I started getting even more curious because yoga, I feel like is a gateway drug. Like that shit fucking opens your mind up to this world of possibility from like the Eastern realm and like that whole sector of the world that it's got the cloak around it. Like, in Wizard of Oz when that fool was like, don't look at the man behind the curtain or whatever. Like America's got over the rest of the planet is the curtain. Like, don't look behind the curtain. I'd be looking behind the curtains because I'm curious and I'm nosy as fuck. So I fucking peek behind this ancient curtain, and I find even more philosophies and like tuning forks, which is something that I do now in my practice. And I started playing around with different tones and different tuning forks, especially while my daughter was moving through things before she could speak that she couldn't understand. I couldn't speak like because she couldn't understand, like she's a tiny baby. So I started looking up things that I could help her with. And another practice that I love is aromatherapy, which I also have in my practices. And aromatherapy, I love because it works. The smells are nice, yes. And also, it works on a molecular level with your olfactory system and your parasympathetic nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very overlooked tool because everybody just thinks it's for smelling nice. But you put lavender on your body, and the molecules of lavender, which have their own specific properties that are healing and medicinal, will go into your blood. They will find the area of dis-ease and they will support it on a physical level. Now, the smells also have the attribute where it's going into your olfactory system and going into your nose, and that's massaging your brain, that mental emotional level, but it also has a physical level to it, which is often overlooked that I really appreciate because that's something that I really leaned on. Because as I've gone through this whole journey, I didn't have anything available to me. I didn't have any resources available to me. I couldn't go to a therapist. I didn't have that available to me. I couldn't afford to go get Reiki. I couldn't afford to go to yoga classes. I couldn't afford to go do breath work. I couldn't afford to fucking do anything but survive with this infant child. So what the fuck am I going to do? If I want things to be different, I can't just sit here and do nothing. So I started doing what I used to do back in the day when I wanted to learn something. Went to the library, found me some, because that's for me has always been reliable. I just go find some books. I got right here. All my walls are filled with books that I have collected over the last like 2 decades to get me through the things that have been trying to keep me down. Because Arita doesn't get held down.
No, I can tell.
Like, I want to live.
Want to live.
So, and these are things that I can teach to my daughter that I am starting to, and that she's being receptive to, and she's seeing is helpful, and it's something that is turning into something so beautiful. So, like from aromatherapy, I found the tuning forks. I started experimenting with the tuning forks with my daughter to see if they would ease her, or like if she was, um, if she had a fever, if I could break her fever with frequencies and things like that. I've been working with herbs since I grew up on that wildlife preserve when I was a child. I would always pick plants. I actually used to get out of school. I found these like lamb's ears or whatever, this plants, and I discovered that they gave me a rash, but it didn't itch or anything. It just looked like I had a rash on my skin. So when I was trying to get away with shit, I would like keep that plant in my room and I would rub that shit all over me before school. And I would tell Teresa, like, I'm sick.
That's genius.
And she would call me into school and I would do more reading while I was at home because I had to come up with a game plan before all my brothers and sisters came home. All hell broke loose and we were all getting beat. So I had to come up with something so I could stay home and study how we all about to survive. So like these are things that like herbs, oils, like these things have always come through for me in such magnificent, curious ways. Which is
Yeah, so hearing like this whole story, I feel like it's gonna take me like 2 days to process everything that you just told me, but like I'm hearing just like this story about life resourcing you on every level. It's like the plants were resourcing you, the oils are resourcing you, the people are resourcing you. It's like resource. I don't know, that word is just like wild in my head right now.
Absolutely, but it goes now that I have been able to have time and space to be in this state that I have fought for so long.
Totally.
Um, when I step back and look, like, girl, I had a moment where I actually had got my ancestry done a couple years ago because the state be playing games. So the state said to Teresa that my older brother was Russian, Greek, German, and African American. He got his ancestry done and he's just Polynesian. So like we don't even know what we are. So I got my ancestry done as well. I'm like everything except Asian, but that's why I feel like my love for anime has come in real strong to cover up.
Fill in the gap. When we first met, you were wearing a Dragon Ball Z shirt, and I was like, that's why I like you. I was like, I like this person.
Doing the Star Trek side. That's so real.
We have a lot of commonality with that. We haven't even talked about that.
I'm obsessed. But like these shows, when you look at them, like when you look at the lessons of them, and I know that in a lot of shows they are this way, but I feel like in anime and in Star Trek, like these motherfuckers, first off, in Star Trek, they're explorers.
That's right.
They're curious. They're full of wonderment. They're excited to go out there and see what's going on. That's me.
100%.
No. And then like with anime, like there's always that protagonist who's like, we can't give up. We got to plus ultra this or Kamehameha that or something.
Perseverance.
Yes. So these people were like my heroes growing up. They never quit and they never stopped being curious. And that's what I love. And that's what I was like, I have to do for myself. I can't give up. What is the option if I give up? I'm going to die. Well, I want to live. So what are the other options? What's the game plan? Let's figure out what we're actually going to do here, Erina. Because I did try to kill myself one time. Let me tell you, girl, first off, it was the top of my arm because I was real mad at Teresa. Because she used to tell me real fucked up shit, like you're gonna be a whore like your biological mother, and I'm like, it really berated me and made me feel like I was a horrible slutty bitch, even though I didn't know what any of it meant.
No, totally.
In my room, I was like, I'm gonna kill myself, and I fucking grab my knife. This is my knife, and I go, "Psst. That's not for me."
Oh, no.
I'm never gonna do that again. I hope this doesn't scar. I'm gonna put some oil on it, some Neosporin. Like that was my one time when I decided when I decided to explore that option. And that moment,
and you're like, that option's not for me.
That's not an option. Then sometimes I like.
Well, now you know.
Girl, and I would be like, cause I like to dog myself out sometimes when I know I'm acting stupid. And I'd be like, what you gonna do, bitch? You gonna kill yourself? Remember what happened last time? You can't do that. You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna do shit. You're gonna sit here and you're gonna be upset and you better dig up them tools and use them because that's the only option. That's it. Like, dang. And I fully encourage everyone to give themselves a little shit talk every now and again. Cause
I
like,
feel that. It's not just self-love, it's also get up, bitch.
right, like you're out here fucking playing games. Sometimes I'd be looking at myself like I'm all crying, like, and I'm like, seriously? Do you even know what you're crying about right now?
Oh, totally.
Check your calendar. You're PMSing.
Real.
Stop. You need to stop right now. I just need some, I don't know, ice cream. Go to the store. Walk there. Fucking get it. Stop. Like that's one of my biggest tools though is the internal conversations, and I have them outside of myself sometimes because
I feel you.
the world has already demonstrated to me that it is here for me, that it is here to show me things, to help me discover things about me so that I can interact with it on a higher level. So I'm looking at my life like I'm going like this with the environment around me, that we are watching each other and learning from each other, and it's like have you ever danced with a Latin man?
That's such a wild question. No.
Oh my gosh, girl, you're missing out.
I know. Sorry. You just eliminated something I need to do now.
Oh my God. Like that is the most beautiful experience, is to dance with a Latin man. Like their style of music and their style of dancing, like it is the epitome of the dance between the divine feminine and the divine masculine and the places that they hold for their titles. So when you're dancing the masculine in the situation, he guides you. He guides how your feet are moving, how you're spinning, if you're going out, if you're coming in, down, coming up. And the woman waits for him to tell her through his mannerisms and his body language how she's to move. And she follows. And it's not like she's following him. Like they're like swirling into
Totally.
so tight. This is how I look at my world. That my external environment is my dance partner. And it wants as much for me as I want for it. And it will swirl around me and fling me out sometimes and then pull me in close and then dip me down and then look at my face and I'm like, oh my God, I'm raising the fuck up right now. And then bam. Like, this is how I interact with the world. This is how I feel my life is. That's because I've taken the time since I was a tiny child to see the truth in what was around me, and that everything is, in fact, alive. If you can figure out how to shut the fuck up long enough to receive the information that it's trying to give you. Like Jesus up there on the cross, like knowing that the thoughts I was having in my mind, just assuming that those were his words, has guided me closer to his actual teachings and to seeing the type of person that he was in those 18 missing years. I was talking to my homegirl about it the other day because I was like, I've been having these thoughts lately because I've been in these communities where people are really like holistic and spiritual, but that looks like we're quiet and we're
I feel you.
normal and we're getting downloads and whatever words they like to use for that. And I'm a loud ass bitch. And I've heard a couple times people say that people are loud when they want attention or this or that and this and that. And I was kind of starting to identify with those words. Like, do I want attention? Is that how I am? I realized like I'm just loud. Like I don't care if you give me attention or not. You could look me in the face and turn around and walk away, and I'm gonna continue the conversation with myself. Because I don't care if you don't want to listen to what I have to say. If we in this conversation and it's my turn to talk, if you don't want to hear me, you have the free will to walk away. Just as I have the free will to finish my conversation, which I'm always talking to myself as I'm talking to everybody else. So it's not like you're the only one hearing this conversation.
Oh man, I'm sorry that we have to cut this off though, because I have a meeting in like 20 minutes.
Okay,
And I feel like I could just keep going.
girl.
I feel like we could just keep going.
Let me know, girl.
Oh, I'll you can come back.
Yeah, I'll come back if you want me to.
Oh, definitely. Oh my God. You're just like a wealth of insight. You're
Yo,
literally a wealth of like how to live. How
all
to live.
this is all this I've discovered in all my practices, everything that I do. I just want to share this energy with other people because everybody can do this too. If we all decided to just
Oh,
live in
definitely.
play or being aware and curious, full of wonderment, caring and fucking caring, like this shit will be fun.
Yeah, I can sense just based off of your life experience, you have very little tolerance for like excuses. You're like, what do you mean? You can't
Right.
do it.
Okay. Is that what you're telling yourself? Because when you know what the problem is, that's why I be telling people we can figure out what the problem is. But once you know what the problem is, then I'm gonna know what kind of person you are.
Uh-huh.
So that
Oh,
way
real.
you about it or you're not. I'm not gonna judge you, but I might stand not as close to you
Right.
because I'm on my own path too.
Yes.
I can't be standing too close to you if you're willfully allowing yourself to move in this way.
Real. Oh my gosh. Well, do you have anything you want to shamelessly plug before we part ways today? Anything that you're offering the world or how you want people to connect with you?
Yes. So my business, Quantum Wave Therapeutics, um, I have my whole human sessions available, which is literally like all the modalities that I practice for myself. I mash them up into an hour and a half session and give you an experience that is going to speak to you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in that one session. And this is all it's so tight because when I tell people literally, you come to me when you're ready to tell on yourself. Because I'm not doing nothing other than listening to you with my listening skills that I've developed. And then I can tell you what you want you to know so that you can do something about it or not. So that's something I've been really trying to infuse into the community because this is I want to look at healing more in a matter of fact way,
Yeah,
in a
totally.
real way. Like how are we made as human beings? We're vibrational beings. So we're going to speak to your body in the language that it understands because most of us are walking around and our higher selves is like, fuck that bitch. She don't listen to me. She ain't going to change.
Mm.
So we need to
Mm.
fix that communication so that y'all are working, we all are working in unison with ourselves so that when we're out in this reality that we can work with everything out around us with just as much ease.
Totally.
First you gotta listen to yourself. So when you ready to tell on yourself, you come see Erina now.
That's right. I love that. I love that. Cool. Is that like all in person or is there anything that you ever do online?
I have been experimenting with distance healings. And also, it's just not the same because I do have aromatherapy that is intertwined with all of this. And I make intuitively crafted, personalized blends
Mhm.
for each person.
Oh, cool.
So I really like to do it in person. Something that I am willing to do is come to you if you're not too far.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Because
just for anyone who's listening, we're in Denver.
yes,
We're in Denver.
yes. So I'm down. I'm down to go on a little road trip. Even if you're out in Colorado Springs, like I'll fucking make a day of it. I'll come see you
Yeah.
and I'll fucking go on a hike.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to remember that we can heal ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm here to put the power of healing back into your hands because
Yes.
you're the only motherfucker who could fix you, just like I'm the only person who could fix me.
Oh my
I
gosh.
can't expect nobody else to do that. And also, I got some pretty cool tools that I figured out, y'all. So I would love to share them.
Beautiful. Yeah, well maybe someone who's listening will fly out here and visit you because you're so awesome.
Appetite tool. Okay.
Well, I do need to go. I desperately need to pee, which is the thing that I always say at the end, which is always true. So I have to go to the bathroom and then I have my meeting. But this was I like I don't even have words for everything that you said. I need to like sit with it. It's crazy.
It's been an amazing ride. It's been an amazing journey. I don't take nothing back. All the crazy shit that happened to me and all the places that I've been to. Thank you. Even to Teresa, even to my
That's
daughter's
big.
dad,
That's
even
big.
to the dude I was in Juarez with. Like, thank y'all. Thank y'all
Yeah.
for making me who I am.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm gonna hit stop the recording now. Okay, bye everyone. All right. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening. The information for the guest that I brought on today is down in the description wherever you're listening to this podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can see what I'm all about on my website, hannawilliams.com. That's HANNA Williams.com. Or you can catch me on Instagram at GracePilled, Grace Pilled. And I post videos and memes. That is a place where I am definitely the most active. And if you feel really inspired to dive deeper into my work, I especially recommend my Patreon, which is my massive library of everything I've ever taught over the years. And so I'll see you there, or you'll just keep listening to the podcast. Do whatever you want. You have free will as always. Thank you for being here. Be sure to check out my Patreon, which is my massive library of talks and courses that I've given over the years. And if not, just stay tuned for more episodes, and I look forward to sharing more with you. See you next time.